Welcome back, my oodles and noodles. We're going to geek out today, yet again, because that's our job. I'm going to talk about a novella, a little bookie that was written by someone I've followed for quite a long time, Daniel Green, and the book is called Breach of Peace. It is Daniel's first foray into the authoring club, so to speak. Yeah, it's his first book. So, pretty cool, pretty awesome. Very happy for him. I've followed Daniel for a super long time. I give him some moolah on Patreon to help him out. And it's pretty awesome to see someone come up with all these ideas and then actually put out a product. I mean, as someone who has written quite a few things, it is hard. It is hard to actually put thought to paper and to actually bring it together into something cohesive even after having those thoughts and ideas. So kudos to him. And I'll be honest, I came into this, I bought the book and I figured it would be whatever, not to be mean, not to say that I didn't think Daniel could do it, but I mean, most of the time someone's first book is not that great. There's a lot of mistakes, there's a lot of issues with it. And of course, Breach of Peace is not perfect, but it's interesting. And what's most interesting of it is also some of the things that cause, at least to me, the most issues with it. But overall, they can be viewed as positives as well. And so Breach of Peace is a relatively small novella. It's only, I believe, 8 chapters. Very, very small, very, very short. And you could even call this book the book of foreshadowing, because that's really more of what it is. You're getting this sneak peek into the world that Daniel's creating. I can't recall off the top of my head, but there is a full-length book being written now that's going to really, really bring us into the world and showcase more. But overall, you have some pretty cool concepts here. And so Breach of Peace follows this female inspector detective named Clyd, a bit of a weird name, but still fun, and her partner, Samuel, who is also an inspector, and another inspector by the name of Chapman. And the book kind of opens up really bloody. They're investigating the murder, this gruesome murder of an entire noble family. And you get these little hints and pieces as they're trying to figure out what's happening. You start realizing this is a much, if possible, even darker story. There are experimentations going on and weird things being covered up. And you start getting little tidbits of what's happening in this world. So these inspectors are part of a kingdom which is under the rule of the Almighty. And you get a general gist of the fact that this, when they say the Almighty is there, he's there. Like God is there, or a God, however you want to view it. And this God has many ministries. You have the Ministry of Truth and the Ministry of Defense, or the military, basically. And then you have these inspectors. And it seems like the Almighty is a kind of cool guy. He's the one who put, police into effect. He pulled away the military. He's trying to give more power to the people and civilians and to take care of them. But then as things go on and they're investigating this case, you start realizing relatively quickly that things are not as they seem, and some shit's going down. And we get a sneak peek of one of the anointed, one of these people who have been chosen by, apparently, the Almighty and given abilities. Now, besides that, that's pretty much it. Like, I can't give more detail without pretty much being in full spoiler mode, because it's such a short, tight story. Like the pacing, the flow, everything will boom, boom, boom. It's one after the other. So I can't really give much more than that. So we've got some magical people that are chosen by a god, and we've got normal police people, and they're investigating stuff, and shit's going down, and it's dark, it's gritty, it's violent as fuck. Excuse my F word, my F bomb. But whew, it goes, it flows. And Daniel does a surprisingly good job. When I say it's a tight story, it's tight. There's no wasted words. Everything just pops. You're on a roller coaster ride from beginning till end, and there's some moments of emotion. There's some moments, as I said, you have Clid and Samuel, who are actually a married couple, who are both investigators, which is really interesting. You usually don't see that in a book, especially a kind of fantasy series. It's pretty rare for a main character to come into it, especially a woman who's already in a relationship. That doesn't really happen much at all, because there's always this, oh, you got to find a partner, or this or that, or it's no partner because you're the big strong person and you don't need that. It's like some kind of dark thing, right? It's not just, oh, this person's already found love, and not only did they find love, but they're in a position of, authority already, and everything's fine in a certain sense. So that was really cool to see. But again, because this book is primarily just a foreshadowing for the other larger novel, you don't really get to understand anything. So it's really the only negative I can lay against it, is that you get these little tidbits, but they don't really explain anything at all. You don't really understand what the hell the Anointed are. You don't understand what the Almighty are. You don't understand what's happening at all. You never really get answers for anything. Anything at all. Nothing is explained. There's small little bits of information that's added in to kind of flesh out the world, but you still never get answers. Now, the fact that this is a novella and you have to kind of come into it understanding that this is just the first little peek into a much larger world, and that all that detail that you want is going to be there, it makes it okay. But I can completely see anyone who, let's say, who wasn't part of the Patreon and who didn't get all these little bits and pieces of information beforehand, so I already understood a little bit more of the world and what was going to happen. And I don't want to say it because I don't want to spoil it for people, but I do understand the bigger pieces a little bit. But even with the information I have, this first book was still kind of like, what? I want to know more. So that's why I say it's kind of a good thing, because it leaves you wanting more. You don't finish this novella going, oh, fact, that sucked. It was so confusing. I didn't understand. You never really feel confusion in the, this is upsetting, I'm irritated kind of way. It's more so just little bits. Ah, damn, now I gotta wait for the bigger book for any of this to make sense to me. Which is good in some ways, annoying in others sometimes, but not really at this point, because it's just done pretty damn well. And it's even more impressive considering it's Daniel's first piece of writing. It's there's not really any scenes or encounters happening where you're kind of cringing because of the style of writing. There's no wasted words. When emotional sets do happen between our main characters, let's say as the couple, or between them and the other people, it actually feels good. It doesn't feel like, oh, he's just throwing this emotional set and I don't really give a crap because I don't know this person. It actually feels relatively, I want to say nice, but it just feels comfortable. It feels like it flows into it well, and you're not feeling kind of left out of the story. You're just kind of, oh, this is nice, and it's a positive thing, because we know, I guess we could say book 2 is going to come out, and if Daniel can make this work out well, I'm very hopeful for book 2. I'm very interested in seeing how he's going to expand this world of these anointed chosen by the Almighty. How is that going to go? I happen to know that there is more magic that's going to come into play. Other abilities that we haven't seen at all in this novella that's going to be expanded upon, and that's going to be extremely interesting to see. Obviously, what's going to happen with our main character. I cannot see, unless Daniel's evil, which is very possible. He is the disheveled goblin. He is the Dark Lord. I mean, he's done enough videos on how to be a good Dark Lord that there's probably some evil lying within him. But I cannot see him ending the novella the way he did and not bringing back that main character. Otherwise, it would have been an entire book where our main characters serve no purpose. Like, they're just there and then they're gone. I don't really see that happening. Somehow she's going to fit into the larger book. Will she be good? Will she be bad? What side of the things she's going to be on? How they're going to play in? Who's going to be our next main character? That's all going to be pretty interesting to see. So overall, for a first piece of work, for someone's just first foray into writing, the world he's created, the pacing, the flow, how he did his fight scenes, uh, it was all pretty damn good. So I would actually give this 8 on 10. I might even give it a 9 on 10. Just because it's his first piece of work. And most of the first pieces of work that I've read that are novellas and stuff like that are really, there's too many issues with flow and pacing, which doesn't happen here. So this is, if you're someone who just wants a quick read that could be very, very fun as an introduction into a bigger world that's to come, I would check this out because it is pretty darn cool. Yeah. That's all I've got, honestly. I'm a little bit blanked out. I literally just finished the novella 5 minutes ago. And so everything's still percolating, and I'm a little bit stuck. I'm in suspense mode. I want to know what's going to happen next, and I can't. I gotta wait. And waiting sucks. There's a reason why I binge things all the time. I have series here that I haven't finished because I'm still waiting for the next book because I want to be able to blow through them all, which is terrible. I should stop doing that. All right. Thanks for checking this out. Let me know what you think down below. You know, do the like, comment, subscribe thing if you feel like it. If you don't, it's fine. Just enjoy yourself. Life is about enjoyment, people. Farewell.